Your heart was never meant to live like a rented place inside other people. It is more beautiful, more unique, and more emotionally powerful. The line feels fresh, cinematic, and deep. It grabs attention faster than the first one. Direct-to-use, polished version. Your heart was never meant to live like a rented place inside other people. One person replies, and you feel alive. One person goes silent, and suddenly your whole world becomes heavy. But listen carefully. If someone's absence can destroy your peace, then your happiness was never truly free. This is not about becoming cold. This is about becoming so complete within yourself that love becomes a blessing, not a need, and loneliness becomes a teacher, not a punishment. Because the day you stop needing people to make you happy is the day no one can control your soul again. 1. Stop letting people decide if you deserve to be happy. The biggest mistake many people make is quietly handing the keys to their happiness to someone else. They wait for a message before they smile, for praise before they feel confident, or for someone's love before they believe they are enough. Without realizing it, they allow other people's opinions, attention, and approval to decide how they feel every single day. But the truth is simple. The moment your happiness depends on another person, your peace is no longer yours. It belongs to whoever has the power to give it or take it away. Think about how often your mood changes because of someone else's actions. One unanswered message can ruin your entire day. One cold response can make you question your worth. One person's rejection can convince you that you are not good enough. Yet none of these moments truly define who you are. They only reveal how much control you have unknowingly placed in someone else's hands. Real happiness begins when you stop asking the world for permission to feel valuable. Your worth does not increase because someone chooses you, and it does not decrease because someone walks away. People leave for countless reasons, many of which have nothing to do with your value. If you build your confidence on their decisions, your heart will rise and fall with every opinion they have. But if you build it on your own character, principles, and growth, your peace becomes something no one can steal. There is incredible freedom in realizing that you do not need everyone to understand you, admire you, or stay with you. You only need to know who you are and refuse to let temporary people define your permanent value. The day you stop letting others decide whether you deserve happiness is the day you take your life back. From that moment forward, your joy is no longer a reward that people can give you. It becomes a quiet strength that comes from within, and that is the kind of happiness that lasts. 2. Expectations are the fastest way to lose your peace. Most disappointment does not begin with what people do. It begins with what we secretly expect them to do. We create silent promises in our minds without ever speaking them aloud. We expect people to love us the way we love them, to care as deeply as we care, to remember what matters to us, and to stay as loyal as we would stay for them. When those expectations are not met, the pain feels personal, but often the real source of our suffering is not their behavior. It is the story we created in our own mind. Expectations are invisible chains. They tie your emotions to choices you cannot control. The moment you expect someone to reply quickly, you become anxious when they don't. The moment you expect appreciation, you become hurt when no one notices your effort. The moment you expect people to always understand you, every misunderstanding feels like betrayal. Slowly, your peace begins to depend on things that were never in your hands. This does not mean you should stop caring about people or stop believing in kindness. It means you must stop making your inner peace dependent on how others behave. Every person sees the world through their own experiences, priorities, and struggles. They will sometimes disappoint you, not always because they want to hurt you, but because they are human. When you accept this truth, you stop taking every action personally. You stop carrying unnecessary emotional weight that was never yours to carry. There is a quiet strength in expecting less and appreciating more. Gratitude replaces entitlement. Acceptance replaces frustration. Instead of demanding that life unfold exactly as you imagined, you learn to meet each moment with calm instead of resistance. This does not make you weak. It makes you emotionally free. The people who protect their peace are not those who always get what they want. They are the ones who no longer expect the world to behave according to their wishes. They give without keeping score. They love without trying to control. They help without demanding recognition. And if someone chooses to leave, disappoint, or misunderstand them, they do not lose themselves in the process. The less you expect from others, the more you begin to discover something extraordinary. Peace was never hidden inside another person's actions. It was waiting inside your ability to let go. The day you release unrealistic expectations is the day your heart becomes lighter, your mind becomes quieter, and your happiness stops depending on circumstances you can never fully control. 3. Learn to sit alone without feeling abandoned. One of the greatest fears people carry is not being alone. It is believing that being alone means they are unwanted. That is why silence feels heavy, empty rooms feel painful, and weekends without messages feel like proof that something is missing. But the truth is, solitude is not a punishment. It is one of life's greatest teachers. The people who fear being alone spend their lives running from themselves, while the people who embrace solitude discover a strength that no relationship can ever replace. Many of us were taught to believe that happiness must come from being surrounded by others. We chase constant conversations, endless attention, and the comfort of knowing someone is always there. Yet even people in crowded rooms can feel deeply lonely. Why? Because loneliness is not created by the absence of people. It is created by the absence of connection with yourself. The moment you learn to enjoy your own company, something extraordinary begins to happen. Silence no longer feels uncomfortable. You stop reaching for your phone every few minutes just to escape your thoughts. You begin reading, learning, creating, walking, and reflecting without needing anyone else's presence to make those moments meaningful. Slowly, your heart realizes that peace has been available all along. You were simply too distracted to notice it. Being alone also reveals who you truly are. Without the noise of other people's opinions, expectations, and approval, you finally hear your own voice. You discover what genuinely makes you happy, what values you stand for, and what dreams belong to you, not the ones borrowed from everyone else. Solitude strips away the masks you wear to impress others and introduces you to the most important relationship you will ever have, the one with yourself. This does not mean you should reject love or avoid meaningful relationships. Human connection is beautiful, but there is a powerful difference between enjoying someone's presence and depending on it for your happiness. The strongest relationships are built by two whole people who choose each other, not by two empty people trying to complete one another. When you stop needing someone to rescue you from loneliness, love becomes a choice instead of a desperate search for validation. There will be seasons in life when people leave, friendships change, and familiar faces disappear. If your happiness depends entirely on their presence, every goodbye will feel like losing a part of yourself. But if you have learned to stand comfortably in your own company, no absence can steal your identity. You may miss people, but you will never lose yourself because of them. The day you learn to sit alone without feeling abandoned is the day you discover a rare kind of freedom. You no longer fear empty spaces because you have filled them with purpose. You no longer wait for someone else to make life meaningful because you have become the source of your own peace. And once you reach that place, being alone no longer feels like loneliness. It feels like coming home. 4. Stop chasing the people who feel peace without you. There comes a moment in every person's life when they must face one painful truth. Not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay. Some people walk beside you only for a season, others quietly drift away without explanation. The mistake most people make is believing that if they love harder, sacrifice more, or wait a little longer, they can force someone to value them again. But love that must be chased is already moving in the wrong direction. Many people spend years exhausting themselves trying to keep relationships alive that the other person has already emotionally left. They send another message after being ignored. They apologize for mistakes they never made. They constantly wonder what they should change about themselves to become enough. Slowly, they stop living their own life because all their energy is focused on convincing someone else not to leave. Without realizing it, they begin trading their self-respect for temporary attention. The hardest part is that chasing rarely feels like chasing in the beginning. It often disguises itself as loyalty, patience, or unconditional love. You tell yourself that real love means never giving up. You believe that if you can just prove your heart one more time, they will finally understand your value. But genuine love does not require endless proof. People who truly appreciate you do not need to be convinced every single day that you deserve a place in their life. Think about how much of your emotional energy disappears while waiting for someone who has already become comfortable without you. Your mind begins creating endless questions. Why haven't they replied? Did I say something wrong? Are they losing interest? What can I do to fix this? Every unanswered question steals another piece of your peace. Instead of enjoying the present, you become trapped inside imagined conversations and imagined futures that may never happen. The painful reality is this: when someone consistently chooses distance, silence, or indifference, they are already communicating something. Not every message is spoken through words. Sometimes the loudest answer is the effort someone no longer makes. Many people spend months searching for explanations when the absence of effort has already explained everything. One of the greatest acts of self-respect is recognizing when to stop chasing answers that are never coming. Closure does not always arrive through a conversation. Sometimes closure arrives the moment you accept reality instead of fighting it. You stop asking why they changed and begin asking why you keep abandoning yourself for someone who already has. Never confuse persistence with self-destruction. Persistence helps you grow. Chasing people who repeatedly choose to leave slowly destroys your confidence. Every time you ignore your own dignity to gain someone else's attention, you quietly teach yourself that their approval matters more than your peace. Over time, this becomes a habit. You start measuring your value by how others respond to you, instead of by the person you are becoming. There is something deeply liberating about realizing that you cannot make someone love you, respect you, or choose you. No perfect message can create genuine care. No endless sacrifice can force appreciation. Feelings that must be constantly begged for were never freely given in the first place. The sooner you accept this, the sooner your heart stops carrying a burden that was never yours to bear. Walking away is often misunderstood. People think it is an act of anger or pride. In reality, walking away can be one of the purest forms of self-love. It is the quiet decision to stop standing outside a closed door while your own life waits behind you. It is choosing healing over hope that keeps hurting you. It is choosing reality over fantasy. Imagine how much energy returns to your life when you stop chasing. Suddenly you have time to care for your health, strengthen your mind, read books that transform you, build meaningful goals, reconnect with forgotten dreams, and create a life that feels fulfilling with or without anyone's approval. The same energy once spent trying to keep someone can now be invested in becoming someone you are proud of. Ironically, the people who stop chasing often become the most attractive, not because they play games, but because they no longer radiate desperation. They carry quiet confidence. They understand that relationships should be mutual, not one-sided battles for attention. Their happiness no longer depends on being constantly chosen, because they have already chosen themselves. This does not mean your heart will never miss people. It will. Some memories will still hurt. Some nights will still feel heavy. But there is a profound difference between missing someone and abandoning yourself to keep them. Missing is human. Losing yourself is optional. Always remember this simple truth. If someone feels complete while repeatedly leaving you behind, chasing them will never make you feel complete. It will only convince you that your worth depends on catching someone who keeps running away. But your worth has never depended on another person's decision. The day you stop chasing people who feel peace without you is the day you reclaim your own peace. You stop running after those who have already chosen another path and begin walking toward the life that has been waiting for you all along. And in that quiet moment, you discover something beautiful. The person you were desperately searching for in others has been growing inside you the entire time. 5. Never beg to be loved, chosen, or understood. There is a kind of pain that slowly changes a person from the inside. It is not always loud. It does not always arrive through heartbreak or betrayal. Sometimes it grows quietly through years of asking for the smallest things: a little attention, a little respect, a little understanding, a little affection. At first, it feels harmless. You tell yourself that every relationship requires effort. You believe that if you explain yourself one more time, love will become easier. But one day you wake up and realize you have spent more time begging for love than actually experiencing it. Love should never feel like a courtroom where you are constantly trying to prove your worth. It should never feel like an interview where you must earn the right to be appreciated. Yet many people unknowingly live this way. They become experts at shrinking themselves to avoid rejection. They hide their feelings because they fear being called too emotional. They lower their standards because they fear ending up alone. They apologize simply to keep people from leaving, even when they have done nothing wrong. The tragedy is not only that other people fail to value them. The real tragedy is that they slowly stop valuing themselves. Every time you beg someone to stay, you quietly tell your own heart that their decision is more important than your dignity. Every time you chase after someone who repeatedly walks away, you teach yourself that love must be earned through suffering. Every time you sacrifice your peace just to keep another person comfortable, you send yourself a dangerous message: my happiness matters less than theirs. But that message is a lie. Real love has never demanded that you abandon yourself. Think about the healthiest relationships you have ever witnessed. Were they built on endless pleading? Did one person constantly chase while the other constantly pulled away? Of course not. Healthy love grows through mutual care, mutual respect, and mutual effort. Both people choose each other willingly. Neither has to beg for basic kindness because kindness is already present. The moment begging enters a relationship, balance begins to disappear. Begging does not always sound obvious. It often hides behind everyday actions. Repeatedly asking someone to make time for you, constantly reminding them to keep promises they willingly made, explaining your pain over and over while they continue repeating the same behavior, waiting months for someone to become the person they keep promising they will become. Eventually, you stop asking for extraordinary love. You begin begging for ordinary respect. That is one of the saddest places a human heart can reach. Many people stay trapped because they confuse hope with reality. They fall in love with someone's potential instead of their actions. They keep believing that next month things will change. Next year they will become more loving. One more conversation will fix everything. But life quietly teaches an uncomfortable truth. People usually show you who they are long before they become who you hope they will be. Hope is beautiful when it inspires growth. Hope becomes dangerous when it keeps you chained to suffering. Another painful habit is begging to be understood. You explain your feelings once, then twice, then 10 more times. You carefully choose your words so they cannot misunderstand you. You rewrite long messages. You replay conversations in your head, yet somehow nothing changes. Not because your explanation was weak, because understanding requires willingness. You cannot force someone to understand a heart they have already decided not to listen to. This realization is painful. But it is also incredibly freeing. The strongest people are not those who can explain themselves perfectly. They are the ones who know when explanation is no longer necessary. Silence often protects your dignity better than endless words. There is another form of begging that many people never notice. begging to be chosen. You compare yourself with others. You wonder why they picked someone else. You ask yourself what you lacked. You change your personality, hoping to become more lovable. You become quieter or louder, kinder, more available, more forgiving, more patient. Little by little, you stop becoming yourself. You become whoever you think will finally be chosen. But the greatest relationship you will ever lose is the one with yourself. Never trade your identity for temporary acceptance. The people who deserve your presence will never require you to become someone else just to earn their love. There is something deeply powerful about accepting that not everyone will choose you. Some people will misunderstand your intentions. Some will leave despite everything you gave. Some will forget your kindness. Some will replace you without looking back. That reality hurts, but it also sets you free. Because once you stop trying to be everyone's choice, you finally become your own priority, and that changes everything. Self-respect grows quietly. It grows every time you walk away from disrespect instead of negotiating with it. It grows every time you refuse to compete for attention. It grows every time you stop forcing conversations that no longer flow naturally. It grows every time you accept that love cannot be demanded. One day you will notice something beautiful. You no longer panic when someone becomes distant. You no longer lose sleep trying to decode every message. You no longer measure your worth by how quickly someone replies. Your peace becomes stronger than your fear of losing people. That is emotional freedom. The truth is, relationships become healthier when they are built on choice instead of need. When two people stay because they genuinely value each other, not because one is constantly afraid of being abandoned, love becomes lighter, conversations become easier, trust grows naturally, respect becomes effortless. This is the kind of connection every heart deserves. Never believe that walking away from someone who refuses to value you means you failed. Sometimes walking away is proof that you finally remembered your worth. Sometimes the bravest sentence you will ever speak is no sentence at all. You simply stop chasing, you stop convincing, you stop proving, you stop begging, and you quietly continue living. Because deep inside, you finally understand something life has been trying to teach you all along. Love that has to be begged for is not love that can bring lasting peace. The right people will never make you fight for the basic things that should come naturally. They will not make you question your value every day. They will not make you earn every small act of kindness. They will not leave you emotionally starving while asking you to stay patient. They will choose you freely, respect you sincerely, listen to you willingly, and appreciate you consistently. Until those people arrive, choose yourself, respect yourself, protect your peace, guard your dignity, because the moment you stop begging to be loved, chosen, or understood, something extraordinary happens. You stop living like someone waiting to be accepted, and you begin living like someone who already knows their worth. That is where real happiness begins, not in being chosen by everyone, but in never abandoning yourself again. 6. Build a life so full that nobody's absence can empty it. One of the greatest mistakes people make is believing that one person is supposed to become the center of their entire world. They slowly stop investing in themselves because all of their emotional energy is poured into someone else. Their dreams become smaller, their hobbies disappear, their friendships fade, their curiosity slowly dies. Without noticing it, their entire identity begins revolving around another human being. At first, it feels like love, but over time, it becomes dependence. The danger of emotional dependence is not that you care deeply about someone. Caring is beautiful. The danger is forgetting how to exist without them. The moment one person's presence becomes your only source of joy, their absence automatically becomes your greatest source of pain. That is too much power to place in anyone's hands. No human being was ever meant to carry the responsibility of becoming your entire reason for living. Life is far bigger than one relationship. Your heart has room for purpose, growth, creativity, learning, adventure, faith, peace, and countless beautiful experiences that have nothing to do with whether someone stays or leaves. Yet many people postpone living while waiting for another person. I'll travel when I find someone. I'll enjoy life after they come back. I'll chase my dream when things become easier. I'll finally be happy once someone chooses me. Without realizing it, years quietly disappear. Life is placed on hold for a future that may never arrive. But life was never designed to be lived in the waiting room. The most peaceful people understand something different. They refuse to postpone joy. They do not wait for permission to begin living. They create meaningful days whether someone walks beside them or not. They read books that expand their thinking. They learn skills that strengthen their confidence. They care for their health because they value the body that carries them through life. They spend quiet mornings reflecting instead of constantly searching for distraction. They discover new places, meet new people, build new habits, create new memories. And with every small step, they build a life that feels rich from the inside. Notice something important. A meaningful life is not built in one extraordinary moment. It is built through ordinary choices repeated every day. Choosing to wake up with intention, choosing to learn instead of endlessly scrolling, choosing discipline over comfort, choosing growth over excuses, choosing gratitude over comparison. These small decisions slowly create a person whose happiness no longer depends on circumstances. One of the greatest gifts you can give yourself is becoming deeply interested in your own life. Become curious again. Read books that challenge your beliefs. Learn a language. Practice an instrument. Develop your career. Start writing. Exercise because you respect yourself, not because you want someone's approval. Spend time in nature. Volunteer. Travel if you can. Build something with your own hands. Every experience becomes another brick in the foundation of a life that cannot easily collapse. Many people believe relationships complete life. Healthy relationships certainly add beauty to life, but they should never replace it. A relationship should be one beautiful chapter in your story. It should never become the entire book, because if your whole story depends on one character, every goodbye feels like the end. When your story is filled with purpose, growth, and meaning, people become companions on the journey instead of the destination itself. This shift changes everything. Imagine waking up excited for your own goals instead of immediately wondering whether someone texted you. Imagine finishing your day feeling proud because you improved yourself, rather than measuring your happiness by another person's attention. Imagine looking in the mirror and seeing someone whose confidence comes from discipline instead of validation. This is emotional independence. It is one of the greatest forms of wealth a person can possess. Another powerful truth is that purpose heals pain faster than obsession ever can. When your entire focus stays on someone who left, every memory becomes another wound. Your mind replays conversations. You search for hidden meanings. You imagine different endings. You ask endless questions that have no answers. Days become months. Months become years. Meanwhile, your own life quietly waits for your attention. Purpose interrupts this cycle. Purpose gives your mind somewhere healthier to invest its energy. Instead of asking, "Why did they leave?" you begin asking, "What kind of person do I want to become?" That single question changes the direction of your life, because growth always begins the moment your attention returns to yourself. People often fear moving forward because they believe doing so means forgetting those they loved. But moving forward does not erase love. It simply refuses to let pain become your permanent address. You can appreciate memories without living inside them. You can miss people without missing your future. You can carry gratitude for what was, while still making room for what will be. There is another trap many people fall into. They compare their lives with everyone else's. They see happy couples online, perfect vacations, beautiful families, success stories, and suddenly their own life feels incomplete. But comparison is one of the quickest ways to ignore the blessings already surrounding you. Every life has struggles hidden behind closed doors. Social media rarely shows lonely nights. Financial stress, private tears, family conflict, personal doubt. Everyone is carrying battles you cannot see. Stop comparing your behind-the-scenes life with someone else's highlight reel. Instead, compare yourself with the person you were yesterday. That comparison creates growth instead of insecurity. A truly full life is not measured by how many people surround you. It is measured by how deeply connected you are with your own values. Can you enjoy a quiet evening without feeling empty? Can you celebrate your own progress without waiting for applause? Can you make yourself laugh? Can you comfort yourself after disappointment? Can you keep moving even when nobody notices your effort? These are signs of real strength. One day, life may remove people you believed would stay forever. Some relationships will naturally end. Some friendships will quietly fade. Some dreams will change direction. These experiences are painful, but they no longer destroy you when your life has many roots instead of only one. Think of a tree. If all of its strength came from one single root, the first storm would destroy it. But a tree survives because hundreds of roots quietly support it beneath the surface. Your life should be the same. Let your purpose become one root, your health another, your faith another, your learning another, your family, your creativity, your values, your dreams, your self-respect, your peace. The more roots your life has, the less any single loss can shake you. People who build rich inner lives rarely become desperate, not because they do not love deeply, but because they have learned that love is only one part of a meaningful existence. They welcome people into their lives without handing them ownership of their happiness. They appreciate companionship without fearing solitude. They give love freely without abandoning themselves. Perhaps the most beautiful realization comes much later. You stop waking up wondering who will make your day better. Instead, you wake up asking, what beautiful thing can I create today? That question changes everything. It transforms you from someone waiting to receive life into someone actively building it. And builders are rarely empty, because every day they add another brick, another lesson, another memory, another reason to smile. Eventually, something extraordinary happens. You no longer fear people leaving because your happiness has many foundations. You still love, you still care, you still welcome meaningful relationships. But your life is no longer standing on someone else's shoulders. It stands on your own. Build a life so rich with purpose that silence no longer frightens you. Build a mind so curious that boredom cannot find you. Build habits so strong that difficult seasons cannot break you. Build values so deep that opinions cannot move you. Build peace so quietly that chaos cannot steal it. And above all, build a life so full that when someone walks away, they take only their place in your story, not your entire future. Because the happiest people are not those who never lose anyone. They are the ones who never lose themselves. And that is the greatest life you will ever build. 7. Become so whole that losing people doesn't break you. There is a kind of strength that does not look loud from the outside. It does not need to prove anything, chase anyone, or announce itself to the world. It is the quiet strength of a person who has learned how to remain standing even when someone they loved walks away. This strength is not born because life became easy. It is born because you finally stopped building your entire identity around people who were never meant to carry the weight of your happiness. You learned that people can leave, change, forget, disappoint, and still you can continue breathing, growing, healing, and becoming more deeply yourself. Most people do not break because someone leaves. They break because they made that person the center of their whole inner world. They gave them the power to decide their mood, their worth, their confidence, their future, and even the way they see themselves. So when that person disappears, it does not feel like losing one relationship. It feels like losing the whole foundation of life. But this is why becoming whole is so important. Wholeness means your life has roots inside you, not only inside another person. It means you can love deeply without disappearing completely. It means you can care without becoming controlled. It means someone's absence may hurt you, but it will not destroy the person you are becoming. To become whole, you must first understand something painful but freeing. No one can complete you in a lasting way if you are empty within yourself. People can comfort you, support you, inspire you, and walk beside you, but they cannot become your missing soul. If you enter every relationship looking for someone to rescue you from your own emptiness, you will become afraid of losing them. Fear will make you cling. Clinging will make you anxious. Anxiety will make you accept less than you deserve. Slowly, love becomes survival. And the moment love becomes survival, you stop feeling peaceful and start feeling dependent. Wholeness begins when you stop asking, "Who will save me?" and start asking, "How can I return to myself?" This question changes everything. Instead of waiting for someone to fill the emptiness, you begin healing the emptiness. Instead of searching for someone to prove you are worthy, you begin living in a way that proves your worth to yourself. You stop treating other people as the final answer to your pain. You become responsible for your peace, your growth, your emotional life, and your future. That responsibility may feel heavy at first, but it is actually freedom. Because the moment you become responsible for your happiness, you stop giving other people permission to control it. Losing people will still hurt. Wholeness does not make you cold. It does not turn your heart into stone. It does not mean you stop caring, stop missing, or stop remembering. It means pain no longer has the authority to erase you. You can cry and still know your value. You can miss someone and still refuse to chase them. You can feel a wound and still choose not to reopen it. You can remember the love without returning to the place that broke your peace. That is maturity. That is emotional power. That is what it means to be whole. Many people think healing means forgetting everything, but healing is not forgetting. Healing is remembering without losing yourself. It is hearing their name and not feeling your entire body collapse. It is passing by old memories without wishing to live there again. It is accepting that something mattered to you, but it was not meant to own you forever. Healing does not erase the past. It puts the past in its proper place. It teaches your heart that a chapter can be meaningful without becoming your whole story. You become whole when you stop confusing attachment with love. Attachment says, "I cannot live without you." Love says, "I value you, but I will not abandon myself to keep you." Attachment fears distance. Love respects truth. Attachment begs for attention. Love requires mutual presence. Attachment turns another person into oxygen. Love allows both people to breathe. Many people call their attachment love because it feels intense, but intensity is not always depth. Sometimes intensity is fear wearing the mask of devotion. Real love brings peace, not constant panic. This is why you must learn to belong to yourself first. Before you belong beside anyone else, you must know how to stand inside your own life. You must know what you believe, what you need, what you will accept, and what you will no longer tolerate. Without self-belonging, every relationship becomes dangerous because you will change yourself completely just to be kept. You will silence your needs, you will hide your pain, you will pretend to be okay while slowly breaking inside. But when you belong to yourself, you stop negotiating with disrespect. You stop shrinking to fit places that were too small for your spirit. You stop losing yourself just to avoid losing someone else. There is a deep peace in becoming the kind of person who can say, "I love you, but I will not lose myself for you." That sentence is not cruel, it is honest. It protects the part of you that took years to rebuild. It honors every painful lesson that taught you your worth. It reminds you that love without self-respect becomes a beautiful prison. And no matter how beautiful a prison looks, it is still a prison if it keeps you away from your own peace. The people who become whole do not stop loving. In fact, they often love better because they no longer love from desperation. They no longer give affection as a way to earn safety. They no longer over-sacrifice in hopes of being chosen. They love from fullness, not fear. They can give without secretly begging to receive. They can stay without becoming trapped. They can leave without becoming bitter. Their love becomes cleaner because it is no longer poisoned by the fear of abandonment. One of the most powerful signs of wholeness is this: you stop taking every departure personally. When someone leaves, You no longer immediately decide that you were not enough. You understand that people leave for reasons connected to their own fears, desires, confusion, wounds, choices, and timing. Sometimes they leave because they do not know how to receive what you offer. Sometimes they leave because they are not ready for the depth you bring. Sometimes they leave because their path is simply not yours. Their leaving may affect you, but it does not define you. Do not let someone's inability to stay become proof that you are hard to love. Some people cannot stay anywhere with depth. Some people only know how to love when things are easy. Some people enjoy your light but cannot handle your truth. Some people want the comfort of your presence without the responsibility of respecting your heart. If they leave, let their leaving reveal their capacity, not your value. You were not created to become smaller just because someone else could not meet you fully. Wholeness also means learning to stop reopening doors that already taught you pain. Many people lose themselves because they keep returning to the same emotional fire, hoping this time it will warm them instead of burn them. They go back because they miss the good moments. They remember the laughter, the promises, the soft beginning, and they forget the anxiety, the disrespect, the confusion, and the nights they cried alone. But maturity is remembering the full truth, not only the beautiful pieces. If a place repeatedly cost you your peace, your body remembers even when your heart tries to romanticize it. Becoming whole requires honesty. You must be honest about who gave you peace and who only gave you emotional highs followed by pain. You must be honest about who loved you and who only needed you. You must be honest about who respected your boundaries and who benefited from you having none. You must be honest about who was truly present and who only appeared when it was convenient. This honesty may hurt, but it also frees you, because you cannot heal from a situation you keep pretending was healthy. There will be moments when your heart wants to run back to what is familiar, even if it hurt you. That does not mean you are weak. It means your nervous system is used to certain patterns. Sometimes chaos feels like home because peace feels unfamiliar. Sometimes inconsistency feels exciting because consistency feels too quiet. Sometimes you chase what hurts because pain has become a language you understand. But wholeness teaches you a new language. It teaches you to choose calm even when chaos feels addictive. It teaches you to choose respect even when drama feels passionate. It teaches you to choose yourself even when your old wounds beg you to repeat the past. The more whole you become, the less you need closure from people who caused confusion. You stop waiting for the perfect apology. You stop needing them to admit what they did. You stop expecting people to explain wounds they were comfortable creating. Closure becomes something you give yourself by accepting the truth of what happened and deciding not to live there anymore. You say, I may never receive the explanation I wanted, but I can still choose peace. That is power. That is freedom. That is healing without permission. One day you will realize that the person you thought you could not live without has become someone you can remember without needing to return. You will realize your life continued, your heart kept beating, your mind became clearer, your days slowly found color again. You will laugh without guilt. You will dream again. You will become interested in your own future again. And when that day comes, you will understand that losing them did not end you. It introduced you to a stronger version of yourself. Become so whole that love feels like a blessing, not a lifeline. Become so whole that attention feels nice, but its absence does not destroy your confidence. Become so whole that when someone chooses you, you appreciate it, and when they do not, you do not collapse. Become so whole that you can welcome people with an open heart, but still keep your self-respect guarded. This is not hardness. This is wisdom. This is the kind of peace that comes when you stop making other people the source of your identity. The truth is simple. People are allowed to leave, but they are not allowed to take you with them. They may take their voice, their presence, their messages, their promises, and their place in your daily life, but they do not get to take your future. They do not get to take your dignity. They do not get to take your ability to love again. They do not get to take the dreams that existed before they arrived. They do not get to turn your heart into a permanent grave, for a temporary chapter. So let people leave, if leaving is what they choose. Let them misunderstand you if they are committed to their version of the story. Let them walk away if they cannot recognize what you bring. But do not leave yourself. Do not abandon your growth. Do not punish your future because someone failed to value your present. Do not stop becoming beautiful inside just because someone treated you carelessly. Their choice is their character. Your healing is yours. And when the pain feels heavy, remind yourself gently, I was whole before they came. I can become whole after they leave. Maybe I forgot myself for a while. Maybe I gave too much. Maybe I stayed too long. Maybe I confused needing them with loving them. But I am returning now. I am learning now. I am becoming now. And this time I will not build my happiness inside someone else's hands. That is the secret. Do not become a person who needs nobody because your heart is closed. Become a person who needs nobody because your soul is complete. Love people, but do not worship their presence. Appreciate them, but do not make them your foundation. Hold them gently, but never hold them so tightly that you lose your grip on yourself. The most powerful version of you is not the one who never gets hurt. It is the one who gets hurt, heals, learns, rises, and refuses to become empty because someone else could not stay. Become so whole that losing people teaches you, but never destroys you. Become so whole that goodbyes hurt, but they do not end your story. Become so whole that you can stand in the middle of absence and still feel your own presence. Because when you finally belong to yourself, losing someone no longer means losing everything. It simply means life has removed one chapter, while the rest of your story is still waiting to be written. 8. Need nobody, lose nothing, become free. There comes a point in life when you finally understand that freedom is not about having everything you want. Freedom is about no longer being controlled by the fear of losing it. Most people believe they are trapped because someone left, because someone stopped caring, because someone did not choose them, or because life did not give them the love they expected. But the deeper truth is this: people are not trapped by loss itself, they are trapped by need. The moment you believe you cannot be happy without a certain person, a certain reply, a certain apology, or a certain approval, you quietly hand your freedom away. You become a prisoner of what you are afraid to lose. To need nobody does not mean you hate people. It does not mean you become heartless, proud, selfish, or emotionally closed. It means you stop placing your entire peace in someone else's hands. It means you can love people without becoming dependent on them. You can enjoy someone's presence without fearing their absence. You can give kindness without turning it into a contract. You can receive love without becoming addicted to it. This is the rare balance most people never learn: to have an open heart, but not a begging heart; to care deeply, but not lose yourself completely; to love fully, but still remain free. Most suffering begins when love becomes need. You do not simply enjoy someone anymore. You start believing you cannot breathe without them. Their mood becomes your weather. Their silence becomes your punishment. Their attention becomes your medicine. Their distance becomes your fear. Suddenly, one person has the power to lift you or crush you, not because they are stronger than you, but because you made them the center of your emotional world. This is why needing nobody is not a cold lesson. It is a survival lesson for the soul. Think about how much peace you lose when you need people to behave a certain way before you can feel okay. You need them to text first. You need them to understand you. You need them to appreciate your effort. You need them to stay loyal, stay close, stay interested, stay kind, stay consistent. And when they fail, your whole inner world begins to shake. But when you learn to need nobody, your peace no longer depends on the unstable behavior of other people. You still prefer honesty, respect, and love, but you no longer collapse when someone cannot give it. You simply recognize what is missing and choose your next step with dignity. This is what lose nothing truly means. It does not mean people will never leave your life. People will leave. Some will leave slowly through silence. Some will leave suddenly without warning. Some will leave while still standing in front of you, because emotionally they have already gone. But when you are whole within yourself, their leaving does not take your identity with them. They may leave your routine, your phone, your plans, your memories, and your future dreams, but they do not leave with your worth. They do not leave with your purpose. They do not leave with your ability to rise again. That is why the one who needs nobody loses nothing essential. Many people fear becoming independent because they think it will make life lonely. But emotional freedom does not remove love from your life. It removes desperation from your love. When you no longer need people to complete you, relationships become cleaner, healthier, and more peaceful. You stop accepting disrespect just to avoid being alone. You stop chasing people who are walking away. You stop over-explaining your pain to those who already know they hurt you. You stop begging for a place in lives where your presence should already be valued. And slowly, your heart begins to understand that peace is better than forced connection. There is a powerful silence that enters your life when you stop needing everyone to choose you. You no longer perform for acceptance. You no longer twist your personality to match someone's preference. You no longer laugh at things that hurt you just to keep the atmosphere comfortable. You no longer hide your feelings because someone else might be inconvenienced by your truth. You begin to live from your own center. You speak with more honesty. You walk with more calm. You make decisions with more clarity. People may still misunderstand you, but their misunderstanding no longer becomes your prison. The person who needs approval is always tired. They are constantly watching faces, reading tones, measuring reactions, and adjusting themselves to stay liked. They become whatever the room rewards. But the person who is free does not live like that. They understand that being respected by themselves is more important than being accepted by everyone. They know that not everyone will understand their path, and they stop wasting energy trying to convince people who are committed to judging them. This is not arrogance. This is self-respect. It is the quiet decision to stop making your life a public vote. Need nobody also means stop depending on people to apologize before you heal. This is one of the deepest forms of freedom. Many people stay stuck for years because they are waiting for someone to say, "I was wrong, I hurt you, I should have treated you better." And yes, you may deserve that apology. You may deserve honesty, accountability, and remorse. But if your healing depends on their maturity, then your pain remains in their hands. Some people will never apologize because admitting the truth would force them to face themselves. Do not keep your heart locked in a room waiting for someone else to bring the key. Your freedom begins when you decide, even if they never admit what they did, I will not let this pain own the rest of my life. There is another freedom hidden inside this lesson. Stop needing people to understand your side of the story. You can explain with patience, speak with honesty, and still be misunderstood. Some people misunderstand because they lack information. Others misunderstand because the truth would challenge the version of you they need to believe. If you keep fighting to correct every false opinion, your life becomes endless defense. But when you become free, you learn to let truth live quietly without needing applause. You know what happened, you know your intention, you know your heart. That becomes enough. The art of needing nobody is also the art of expecting less from unstable places. If someone has shown you repeatedly that they cannot be consistent, stop expecting consistency from them. If someone only values you when they need something, stop expecting genuine care from them. If someone listens only when it benefits them, stop expecting deep understanding from them. Peace grows when your expectations match reality. Pain grows when your hopes keep arguing with what life has already shown you. Freedom begins when you stop begging reality to become what your fantasy wanted. This does not mean you stop believing in good people. It means you stop giving unlimited chances to people who keep proving they are careless with your heart. It means you learn the difference between patience and self-abandonment. Patience gives people room to grow. Self-abandonment gives people permission to keep hurting you. Patience still has boundaries. Self-abandonment has excuses. Patience is rooted in wisdom. Self-abandonment is rooted in fear. When you need nobody, you no longer call your fear love. You no longer call your suffering loyalty. You finally see things clearly. True freedom also comes when you stop needing life to happen exactly according to your plan. Sometimes the relationship you wanted does not work. Sometimes the friendship you trusted fades. Sometimes the opportunity you prayed for closes. Sometimes the person you thought was your future becomes part of your past. At first it feels like loss, but later you may realize that life was not destroying you, it was redirecting you. Many closed doors are not punishments. They are protection from futures that would have drained you. The free person learns to trust that not everything removed from their life was meant to remain. Need nobody, lose nothing. Become free means you stop clinging to what keeps hurting you just because you are afraid of emptiness. Many people hold on to painful connections because they fear the silence that comes after letting go. They would rather stay in anxiety than face solitude. But solitude is not the enemy. Solitude is where you meet the version of yourself you neglected while chasing everyone else. In solitude, you hear your own thoughts again. You rediscover your own dreams. You rebuild your standards. You remember what peace feels like without emotional chaos. At first, silence may feel uncomfortable, but eventually it becomes sacred. The day you stop needing someone to fill every empty space is the day you become dangerous to everything that once controlled you. Manipulation loses power when you no longer fear being alone. Mixed signals lose power when you no longer chase clarity from confused people. Rejection loses power when you no longer see it as proof of your worth. Distance loses power when you no longer measure love by constant access. You become harder to control because your peace has moved back inside you. There is a beautiful confidence that comes from knowing you can survive endings, not because endings are easy, but because you have survived them before. You have cried and continued. You have lost and rebuilt. You have been disappointed and still found reasons to smile again. You have watched people leave and discovered that the world did not end. This memory becomes strength. The next time someone pulls away, you no longer panic the same way. You may feel pain, but beneath the pain there is a quiet voice saying, "I have been through loss before, and I still became more." That is the voice of freedom. Freedom is not always dramatic. Sometimes freedom is deleting the message you were about to send because you finally respect your silence. Sometimes freedom is sleeping peacefully without waiting for a reply. Sometimes freedom is walking away without giving a final speech. Sometimes freedom is choosing not to check who viewed your story, who moved on, who forgot, or who replaced you. Sometimes freedom is simply realizing that your energy is too precious to keep pouring into places that never refill you. The free person does not chase closure, attention, revenge, or validation. They choose growth, they choose peace, they choose discipline, they choose the life that still belongs to them. While others are busy proving their pain, the free person is rebuilding silently. While others are begging to be noticed, the free person is becoming someone they are proud to be. They understand that the best answer to those who undervalued you is not anger. It is becoming so peaceful, so focused, and so complete that their presence or absence no longer decides your direction. Need nobody also means learn to enjoy people without trying to own them. This is where love becomes mature. You understand that every person is on their own journey. You cannot force loyalty, force depth, force honesty, or force someone to grow at the speed you desire. You can only observe, choose, and respond. If they meet you with sincerity, appreciate them. If they meet you with confusion, protect yourself. If they meet you with disrespect, step back. You do not need to hate them. You do not need to punish them. You simply stop offering unlimited access to someone who does not treat your presence with care. One of the strongest signs that you have become free is that you no longer romanticize suffering. You no longer believe love must feel painful to be real. You no longer think begging proves devotion. You no longer confuse chaos with passion. You no longer call emotional starvation patience. You begin to desire calm love, honest love, steady love, respectful love. And if that love is not present, you do not destroy yourself trying to manufacture it from someone unavailable. You would rather stand alone in peace than sit beside someone who makes you feel alone anyway. The truth is, needing nobody is not about rejecting connection. It is about returning connection to its proper place. People are beautiful when they are a blessing, but dangerous when they become your only source of life. Love is beautiful when it is mutual, but painful when it becomes a one-sided hunger. Companionship is beautiful when it adds to your peace, but damaging when it replaces your identity. The goal is not to become empty of love. The goal is to become full enough that love is no longer a rescue mission. When you finally reach this place, your whole energy changes. You stop moving like someone waiting to be chosen. You stop speaking like someone afraid of being left. You stop staying where your soul feels heavy. You start choosing yourself without guilt. You start protecting your mind without apology. You start building a life that feels strong even when nobody is clapping. You become less available to disrespect, less addicted to attention, less shaken by silence, and less willing to betray yourself for temporary closeness. This is the final lesson, because everything leads here. When you stop letting people decide if you deserve happiness, you take your power back. When you release expectations, your peace returns. When you learn to sit alone, solitude becomes strength. When you stop chasing, dignity comes home. When you refuse to beg for love, self-respect rises. When you build a full life, absence loses its power. When you become whole, loss no longer destroys you. And when you need nobody, lose nothing, and become free, you finally become the person you were searching for in everyone else. So let this be the rule you carry forward. Love people, but do not need them to be your oxygen. Welcome connection, but do not let it become captivity. Give your heart, but keep your self-respect. Miss people, but do not return to what broke you. Forgive when you are ready, but do not confuse forgiveness with re-entry. Be kind, but do not become available for misuse. Be open, but never empty yourself to keep someone full. The world may still change. People may still come and go. Some will love you deeply. Some will misunderstand you completely. Some will stay for a season and leave without explanation. But if your home is within yourself, no departure can make you homeless. If your peace is within yourself, no silence can make you powerless. If your worth is within yourself, no rejection can make you worthless. That is freedom. Need nobody, not because nobody matters, but because your soul matters too. Lose nothing, not because nothing leaves, but because nothing external owns the deepest part of you. Become free, not by closing your heart, but by finally opening your eyes. Your happiness was never meant to live inside another person's hands. Your peace was never meant to wait outside someone else's door. Your life was never meant to stop because someone did not know how to stay. Walk forward with a calm heart. Let what leaves, leave. Let what stays prove itself through peace. Let what is meant for you meet you without forcing, chasing, or begging. And until then, keep becoming the kind of person who can stand alone without feeling empty, love without feeling desperate, and lose people without losing themselves. Because the moment you need nobody to complete you, no one can control you, and that is the beginning of real freedom. 9. Choose yourself every day until peace becomes your nature. There is a moment after all the pain, after all the waiting, after all the chasing, when life quietly asks you one final question. Are you ready to choose yourself now? Not once, not only when you are hurt, not only when someone leaves, not only when your heart is broken and your pride is tired, but every day, in small decisions, in silent moments, in the way you speak to yourself when nobody is listening, in the way you walk away from what keeps taking your peace. Choosing yourself is not one dramatic act. It is a daily return to the person you kept abandoning for people who never truly valued your heart. Most people think choosing yourself means becoming selfish, but that is not true. Choosing yourself means you stop betraying your own soul just to keep other people comfortable. It means you stop saying yes when your whole body is begging you to say no. It means you stop laughing at disrespect just to avoid conflict. It means you stop shrinking your needs because someone else does not want to hear them. It means you finally understand that your peace is not a small thing. Your peace is your home. And if you keep giving that home away to people who bring chaos, you will spend your whole life feeling homeless inside yourself. For years, you may have chosen everyone except you. You chose the people who only remembered you when they needed something. You chose the one who gave you confusion instead of consistency. You chose the friends who clapped for others but went silent when it was your turn to rise. You chose the family members who expected your sacrifice but ignored your pain. You chose the conversations that drained you, the relationships that emptied you, the memories that kept reopening your wounds. And while you were choosing all of them, one person stood quietly in the background, waiting to be chosen too. You. Choosing yourself begins when you stop asking, "Will they be upset if I protect my peace?" and start asking, "What will happen to me if I keep ignoring my own pain?" That question changes everything, because many people are not afraid of losing others. They are afraid of disappointing them. They are afraid of being called selfish, cold, difficult, changed, proud, or ungrateful. So they keep suffering politely. They keep smiling while drowning. They keep carrying emotional weight that was never theirs to carry. But there comes a point when being liked by everyone costs too much. Sometimes the price of keeping people happy is losing yourself completely. You must understand this clearly. People who benefit from your lack of boundaries will often be offended when you finally create them. The person who was used to your silence may call your honesty disrespect. The person who was used to your endless availability may call your distance arrogance. The person who was used to taking without giving may call your self-respect selfishness. Let them. Their reaction does not mean your boundary is wrong. It only means your growth is no longer convenient for them. Choosing yourself means accepting that not everyone will celebrate your healing. Some people loved the version of you that was easy to control. They loved when you apologized first, reached out first, forgave quickly, and asked for very little. They loved when you placed their comfort above your own peace. But when you start becoming stronger, calmer, and less available for emotional misuse, they may not recognize you. That is okay. You were not born to remain wounded just so people could keep benefiting from your softness. There is a quiet grief in choosing yourself. Nobody talks about this enough. Sometimes healing hurts because it requires you to stop returning to what your heart still wants. You may know someone is not good for you, but still miss them. You may know a place is unhealthy, but still feel attached to it. You may know you deserve better, but still feel afraid to walk away. This does not mean you are weak. It means you are human. Healing is not always a clean cut. Sometimes healing is walking away while your heart still looks back. Sometimes healing is choosing peace even when pain is familiar. But every time you choose yourself, something inside you becomes stronger. The first time may feel impossible. The second time still hurts. The third time feels less heavy. Then one day you realize you no longer need to explain why you deserve respect. You no longer panic when someone becomes distant. You no longer chase people who are comfortable losing you. You no longer confuse attention with love. You no longer keep doors open for people who only enter when they are bored. Slowly, choosing yourself becomes natural. Peace becomes your standard, not your dream. To choose yourself every day, you must stop romanticizing people who only gave you small pieces of love. Do not turn rare kindness into proof of deep care. Do not turn occasional attention into loyalty. Do not turn beautiful memories into a reason to ignore painful reality. Many people stay trapped because they keep remembering the best moments and forgetting the pattern. But peace comes when you judge people by consistency, not by potential. A person's potential can make your heart hope. Their pattern tells you the truth. You also choose yourself by refusing to let loneliness push you back into places that broke you. Loneliness is temporary, but the wrong connection can damage you for years. There will be nights when you miss someone so deeply that your mind tries to convince you to return. It will show you the good memories. It will soften the pain. It will whisper, maybe this time it will be different. In that moment, Pause. Do not ask only what you miss. Ask what it cost you. Ask how many times you cried. Ask how many times you felt ignored, confused, unwanted, or emotionally exhausted. Missing someone is not always a sign you should go back. Sometimes it is only a sign that you are healing from attachment. Choosing yourself means learning to comfort yourself without running back to what wounded you. Take a walk. Pray, write, breathe, rest, read, build, cry if you must, but do not use pain as a reason to betray your progress. The version of you who survived so much deserves your protection. Do not hand that version back to the same people who did not know how to care for it. Another part of choosing yourself is becoming honest about what you truly need. Not what looks impressive, not what other people expect, not what keeps the peace outside while creating war inside. What do you need to feel calm? What do you need to feel respected? What kind of people help your spirit grow? What kind of conversations leave you lighter? What kind of life would make you proud if nobody clapped for it? These questions matter because a person who does not know their own needs will keep accepting whatever others offer. When you choose yourself, your standards become clearer. You stop being attracted to confusion. You stop calling emotional distance mysterious. You stop thinking inconsistency is exciting. You stop mistaking intensity for depth. You start valuing peace, honesty, maturity, loyalty, kindness, and emotional safety. At first, this may feel unfamiliar because chaos can be addictive when you have lived inside it for too long. But once peace becomes familiar, chaos becomes unattractive. You no longer want what keeps your nervous system in fear. You want what allows your soul to rest. There is a powerful version of you waiting on the other side of self-abandonment. This version does not beg. This version does not chase. This version does not keep explaining the same pain to people who refuse to change. This version understands that love should not require you to lose your dignity. This version can forgive without returning, care without collapsing, miss someone without reaching out, walk away without hatred, start again without shame. But this version is not born overnight. You build it through daily choices. You build it when you choose sleep over overthinking. You build it when you choose silence over arguing with someone committed to misunderstanding you. You build it when you choose discipline over distraction. You build it when you choose healing over revenge. You build it when you choose growth over comfort. Every small choice becomes a brick. Every boundary becomes a wall around your peace. Every act of self-respect becomes proof that you are no longer available for the life that kept breaking you. Choosing yourself also means forgiving yourself for the times you did not know better. Maybe you stayed too long. Maybe you loved someone more than you loved yourself. Maybe you ignored the signs. Maybe you kept giving chances to people who had already shown you who they were. Maybe you begged, chased, waited, explained, and broke quietly. Do not use your past as a weapon against yourself. You were learning. You were surviving with the wisdom you had at that time. Now you know more. Now you see more clearly. Now you can choose differently. Self-forgiveness is important because shame keeps people stuck. If you keep hating yourself for what you allowed, you may never feel strong enough to change. But when you say, "I did not know then what I know now," you give yourself permission to grow. You are not the same person who tolerated those things. You are becoming someone new. And becoming new requires kindness toward the person you used to be. One day, when you truly choose yourself, you will stop needing people to regret losing you. That is a higher level of freedom. Many people say they are healing, but secretly they still want the person who hurt them to come back and say, "I made a mistake." They want proof that their absence was felt. They want the other person to suffer a little, miss them a little, realize their value a little. But real peace begins when you no longer need someone's regret to validate your worth. Whether they miss you or not, you still matter. Whether they return or not, you still rise. Whether they understand or not, you still move forward. Your glow should not depend on their guilt. Your healing should not wait for their apology. Your future should not pause until they realize what they lost. Let them think what they think. Let them choose what they choose. Let them live with their version of the story. You continue building the version of yourself that no longer needs to be understood by everyone to feel whole. Choosing yourself is not about becoming untouchable. It is about becoming unreachable to the things that once destroyed you. The same manipulation does not work anymore. The same silence does not control you anymore. The same mixed signals do not trap you anymore. The same empty promises do not move you anymore. You have learned too much. You have cried too much. You have rebuilt too much. Now your peace has a gate, and not everyone gets the key. This is where your life begins to change in a deep way. You stop looking for someone to rescue you and start rescuing yourself through discipline, patience, courage, and self-respect. You stop waiting for the perfect moment to begin living. You start with what you have. You clean your space. You fix your routine. You protect your body. You feed your mind. You improve your skills. You spend time with people who feel like peace, not pressure. You create a life that supports the person you are becoming. And slowly your energy changes. People can feel when you no longer need them to complete you. They can feel when your happiness is not for sale. They can feel when your silence is not weakness but self-control. They can feel when your kindness has boundaries. They can feel when your heart is open but your standards are awake. This kind of energy is rare because it comes from someone who has suffered, learned, and refused to become bitter. Choosing yourself every day does not mean life becomes perfect. You will still have hard days. You will still miss people. You will still feel tired. You will still question yourself sometimes. But the difference is this: you will no longer abandon yourself during difficult moments. You will no longer run back to what hurt you just because healing feels lonely. You will no longer let one person's absence convince you that your life is empty. You will have your own back, and that changes everything. The final freedom is not needing life to look a certain way before you feel grateful. It is waking up and realizing that even with scars you are still here. Even after loss you can still build. Even after betrayal you can still trust yourself. Even after heartbreak, your heart can still become peaceful. You are not behind, you are not ruined, you are not too late. You are becoming stronger in places nobody can see. So choose yourself when they leave. Choose yourself when they return. Choose yourself when they apologize. Choose yourself when they do not. Choose yourself when people clap. Choose yourself when nobody notices. Choose yourself when it feels easy. Choose yourself when it feels lonely. Choose yourself until your nervous system stops craving chaos. Choose yourself until peace feels normal. Choose yourself until love no longer feels like begging. Choose yourself until your own presence feels like home. Because at the end of the day, people will come and go. Seasons will change. Some promises will break. Some friendships will fade. Some doors will close without explanation. But you will always have to live with yourself. So become someone you do not keep betraying. Become someone you can trust. Become someone whose peace is protected. Become someone whose heart is soft, but no longer available for careless hands. This is the real art of needing nobody to be happy. It is not about rejecting the world. It is about returning to yourself. It is about understanding that your happiness cannot be built on unstable ground. It is about loving people without making them your foundation. It is about letting life give and take without losing your center every time something changes. Choose yourself until you no longer feel guilty for wanting peace. Choose yourself until you no longer apologize for having standards. Choose yourself until you no longer fear being misunderstood by people who never tried to understand you. Choose yourself until you can stand alone and still feel full. Choose yourself until your life becomes proof that losing people does not mean losing everything. And when you finally reach that place, you will not need to announce it. Your calm will speak. Your boundaries will speak. Your silence will speak. Your growth will speak. You will move differently because you are no longer begging life through other people. You are standing inside your own worth. That is when peace becomes your nature. That is when happiness stops being something you wait for. And that is when you finally understand choosing yourself was never selfish. It was survival. It was healing. It was freedom. 10. Become the person you were waiting for. There comes a powerful moment in life when you realize you were not really waiting for someone else to save you. You were waiting for yourself to finally rise. You were waiting for the version of you who stops making excuses, stops returning to pain, stops begging for love, stops shrinking for approval, and stops living like happiness is something that must arrive from outside. For so long, you may have believed that one person, one relationship, one apology, one opportunity, or one perfect moment would finally make you feel complete. But life keeps teaching the same lesson in different ways. No one is coming to live your life for you. No one is coming to become your courage. No one is coming to build your discipline. No one is coming to protect your peace better than you. The person you were waiting for was always hidden inside the person you kept neglecting. Most people spend years standing at the door of other people's lives, hoping someone will open and give them the feeling they cannot give themselves. They wait to be chosen before they feel valuable. They wait to be loved before they feel beautiful. They wait to be supported before they begin. They wait to be understood before they trust their own voice. But the waiting slowly becomes a prison. Every day spent waiting for someone else to make you whole is another day you forget the power already living inside you. You do not become free by finding someone who finally completes you. You become free by realizing you were never incomplete in the first place. Becoming the person you were waiting for means you stop treating your life like a paused story. You stop saying, "I will be happy when they come back." You stop saying, "I will start when someone supports me." You stop saying, "I will change when life becomes easier." You stop saying, "I will love myself when someone proves I am worth loving." These sentences sound harmless, but they quietly steal years. They turn your happiness into a future event and your present life into a waiting room. But your life is not meant to be postponed until another person decides to show up correctly. Your life is happening now, and every moment you delay choosing yourself, you give your power to something uncertain. The strongest people are not strong because nobody hurt them. They are strong because they finally decided their pain would not become their identity. They stopped asking life to be fair before they started moving. They stopped waiting for perfect support before they began building. They stopped needing applause before they respected their own effort. They became the person who encourages them when nobody claps, holds them when nobody notices, corrects them when they are slipping, and pushes them when comfort tries to make them small. That is real strength. It is not the absence of pain, it is the decision to keep becoming even while pain is present. You become the person you were waiting for when you learn to speak to yourself differently. Many people are kinder to strangers than they are to their own hearts. They make one mistake and call themselves failures. They get rejected and call themselves unlovable. They feel tired and call themselves weak. They look at their past and feel ashamed instead of understanding how much they survived. But if you keep attacking yourself from the inside, you will always search for comfort outside. You will become hungry for validation because your own inner voice has become a place of punishment. Healing begins when your own mind becomes less cruel. You do not need to lie to yourself or pretend everything is perfect. You simply need to stop speaking to yourself like someone you hate. This does not mean you avoid responsibility. In fact, becoming your own person requires deep responsibility. You must look at your habits honestly. You must admit where you keep returning to what hurts you. You must recognize where you are waiting for rescue instead of taking action. You must face the ways you have abandoned yourself, ignored your own boundaries, delayed your own growth, and tolerated things that damaged your peace. But responsibility without self-hatred is powerful. It says, "I see where I went wrong, and I will choose better." Shame says, "I am wrong, and I cannot change." Never confuse the two. Shame keeps you trapped. Responsibility sets you free. One of the biggest signs that you are becoming the person you were waiting for is that you stop needing someone else to give you permission to begin. You do not wait for people to understand your dream before you work on it. You do not wait for family, friends, or strangers to approve your path before you take the first step. You do not wait until you feel confident before you act, because you understand confidence is built through action. Most people never begin because they want certainty first. But certainty often comes after movement, not before it. You do not need the whole road to be visible. You need the courage to take the next honest step. Many people say they want a better life, but they are still loyal to the habits that created their current one. They want peace, but they keep entertaining drama. They want confidence, but they keep breaking promises to themselves. They want freedom, but they keep checking on people they are trying to heal from. They want growth, but they keep choosing comfort whenever discipline asks for effort. Becoming the person you were waiting for means you stop betraying your future for temporary relief. You stop asking why your life is not changing while repeating the same choices every day. A new life requires a new pattern. Without a new pattern, the old pain will keep finding you in different forms. This is where discipline becomes an act of self-love. Many people think self-love is only comfort, softness, rest, and kind words. Those things matter. But self-love is also waking up when you said you would. It is doing the work when motivation disappears. It is leaving your phone alone when your mind needs peace. It is choosing the healthier option because your body deserves care. It is refusing to reopen a wound just because loneliness is loud. It is building the life you keep dreaming about, even when nobody is watching. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is proof that you finally believe your future deserves effort. The person you were waiting for will not always feel fearless. They may still feel nervous, tired, uncertain, and lonely, but they move anyway. They understand that feelings are real, but feelings are not always commands. Fear may speak, but it does not have to lead. Doubt may appear, but it does not have to decide. Sadness may visit, but it does not have to become your home. Emotional freedom means you can feel something deeply without obeying it blindly. You can miss someone without contacting them. You can feel anxious without destroying your peace. You can feel unmotivated without quitting. This is maturity, learning to honor your feelings without becoming controlled by them. Becoming your own source of strength also means you stop using other people's inconsistency as an excuse to stop growing. Someone did not support you? Grow anyway. Someone misunderstood you? Grow anyway. Someone left? Grow anyway. Someone failed to appreciate your heart? Grow anyway. Your growth cannot depend on people behaving perfectly, because people are imperfect. If you wait for everyone to treat you correctly before you become your best self, you may wait forever. Let their absence teach you focus. Let their rejection teach you self-respect. Let their silence teach you how to listen to your own soul. Let every loss return you deeper into your own life. There is a dangerous comfort in victimhood. Pain can become familiar. You may begin to identify with being the one who was left, the one who was hurt, the one who was never chosen, the one who always gives too much. And yes, your pain may be real. What happened may have been unfair. But if you build your entire identity around what wounded you, the wound becomes your home. You were not created only to be the person who survived damage. You were created to become someone beyond it. At some point, you must stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "What kind of person will I become after this?" That question gives your power back. The people who transform their lives are not always the ones with the easiest past. Often, they are the ones who decide their past will not get the final vote. They do not deny what happened. They do not pretend it did not hurt, but they refuse to let old pain keep writing new chapters. They understand that healing is not just feeling better. Healing is choosing differently. Healing is no longer being attracted to the same patterns. Healing is noticing red flags earlier. Healing is leaving sooner. Healing is speaking honestly. Healing is trusting yourself again. Healing is building a life that no longer requires you to abandon your peace to feel loved. You become the person you were waiting for when you start keeping promises to yourself. This is where self-trust is born. Every time you say you will do something and actually do it, your confidence grows quietly. Every time you say you will not return to someone who broke you and you stay away, Your self-respect grows. Every time you choose your long-term peace over short-term comfort, your inner strength grows. Confidence is not built by repeating empty words in the mirror while living against yourself. Confidence is built when your actions prove that you can trust yourself. And when you trust yourself, everything changes. You no longer panic when people leave because you know you will not abandon yourself too. You no longer chase validation because your own actions are giving you proof. You no longer fear being alone because you are no longer living with someone inside you who constantly betrays you. The deepest loneliness is not being without people. The deepest loneliness is being disconnected from yourself. Once you return to yourself, solitude becomes different. It stops feeling like rejection and starts feeling like restoration. This does not mean you will never need people. Human beings are not made to live without connection. Love, friendship, family, kindness, and community all matter, but there is a difference between healthy need and desperate dependence. Healthy connection says, I value you in my life. Desperate dependence says, without you I am nothing. Healthy love brings warmth. Desperate attachment brings fear. Healthy support strengthens you. Desperate dependence weakens your sense of self. The goal is not to become someone who feels nothing. The goal is to become someone who can love without losing their center. When you become the person you were waiting for, your relationships become more honest. You stop choosing people from emptiness. You stop accepting crumbs because you are starving. You stop confusing intensity with love and confusion with mystery. You no longer enter relationships asking, will this person make me feel complete? Instead you ask, does this connection bring peace, respect, honesty, and growth? That shift protects you from many painful patterns, because when you are not desperate to be filled, you can clearly see who is healthy for you and who only knows how to take from you. You also become less impressed by words and more aware of patterns. Someone can promise change, but you watch their consistency. Someone can say they care, but you watch their effort. Someone can apologize, but you watch whether the behavior stops. Someone can speak beautifully, but you watch how your nervous system feels around them. The person you were waiting for inside you is not easily fooled by temporary sweetness. They have learned that peace is proven over time. They have learned that love without respect is not safe. They have learned that access to your life must be earned through care, not demanded through emotion. Another powerful part of becoming yourself is learning to create joy without needing an audience. Do things because they nourish your soul, not because they will be noticed. Improve your life even if nobody compliments you. Dress well because you respect yourself. Clean your space because your mind deserves calm. Learn something new because your future deserves expansion. Take care of your health because your body has carried you through every hard day. Build quietly, grow quietly, heal quietly. The most powerful transformations often happen without announcement. One day, people simply meet a version of you they can no longer control. There will be resistance. Old patterns do not die quietly. The part of you that is used to chasing may still want to chase. The part of you that fears abandonment may still want to cling. The part of you that wants approval may still want to please everyone. Do not hate these parts of yourself. They were created from pain, fear, and survival, but do not let them lead your life anymore. Thank them for trying to protect you, then choose wisdom. You are allowed to outgrow survival habits that once kept you safe, but now keep you small. Becoming the person you were waiting for requires patience. You cannot rebuild years of self-abandonment in one day. Some days you will feel powerful, other days you will feel like you are starting again. That is normal. Progress is not always a straight road. Sometimes progress is simply noticing the pattern before it destroys you. Sometimes progress is taking 1 hour longer before replying to someone toxic. Sometimes progress is crying but not going back. Sometimes progress is choosing rest instead of spiraling. Do not underestimate small victories. A life changes through repeated small victories more than one dramatic moment. One day you will look back and realize you are no longer the person who waited by the phone, begged for understanding, tolerated disrespect, or called anxiety love. You will realize you have become calmer. You will realize silence does not frighten you the same way. You will realize you can lose people without losing your direction. You will realize your happiness has roots now, not in their approval, not in their attention, not in their presence, but in your own growth, your own values, your own discipline, your own peace. That is when life begins to feel different. You stop living like someone waiting to be rescued and start living like someone who has finally returned to themselves. Your energy becomes steady, your choices become clearer, your standards become stronger. You still love, but you do not worship anyone's presence. You still care, but you do not carry what is not yours. You still hope, but you do not build your whole life on uncertain promises. You become gentle but not weak, open but not empty, kind but not available for disrespect. So become the person you were waiting for. Become the one who shows up for you when others disappear. Become the one who believes in your future when your past tries to define you. Become the one who protects your peace when loneliness asks you to return to pain. Become the one who speaks truth when fear wants you silent. Become the one who builds when nobody is watching. Become the one who chooses growth over comfort and dignity over desperation. Because the truth is, you may not always control who stays, who leaves, who understands, who apologizes, or who chooses you, but you can control whether you abandon yourself in the process. You can control whether you keep building. You can control whether you keep healing. You can control whether you let one chapter become your whole identity. You can control whether you rise. And when you finally rise, you will understand the deepest lesson of all. Needing nobody to be happy was never about living without love. It was about becoming so rooted in yourself that love could enter your life as a gift, not a rescue. It was about becoming so whole that people could walk beside you without carrying you. It was about becoming so peaceful that no absence could empty you completely. The person you were waiting for is not far away. They are built every time you choose yourself. They are built every time you keep your promise. They are built every time you walk away from what breaks your spirit. They are built every time you return to your own life. And one day, after enough small choices, enough quiet discipline, enough painful endings, enough brave beginnings, you will look in the mirror and recognize them, the person who came to save you, the person who stopped waiting, the person who finally became free. If these words touched something deep inside you, do not let them remain only as words. Let them become the way you live. Tonight, before you sleep, ask yourself one honest question. Who did I give the power to decide my happiness? And then slowly take that power back. Stop waiting for people to reply before you feel peaceful. Stop waiting for someone to choose you before you feel worthy. Stop waiting for love to arrive before you begin loving your own life. You were never created to live empty, begging other people to make you feel complete. You are not weak because you love deeply. You are not foolish because you cared. You are not broken because someone left. You are simply learning the lesson that every strong soul must learn. People can be part of your happiness, but they must never become the source of it. So from today, choose peace over chasing. Choose dignity over begging. Choose growth over attachment. Choose yourself without guilt. Let them come if they bring peace. Let them leave if they bring confusion. But never leave yourself again. Because the day you learn the art of needing nobody to be happy, you do not lose love. You finally find freedom.